Alright guys, this is the video that probably a lot of you have been waiting for. We're going to show you how to properly fix the blend door on your Focus. Got to start off by removing our negative battery cable. This is the proper way to fix it, because I've seen some videos out there where you got guys cutting holes in their dashboards, cutting holes in their heater boxes, and well, you don't need to do that. It's not how this works. You can't shortcut it that way, because then you're going to lose efficiency in your heater box. So the only way to do it is to pull the dashboard back. I've never pulled a dashboard in a Focus, so I'm going to be learning along with you on this one. I've got a general idea of what needs to be done, and I'm guessing that's going to be enough. So we'll set you down here where you can get the good view, because we're going to be down in the lower regions a lot. Alright, so first step is disconnect your negative battery cable and let this thing sit for about 10 minutes. So while you've got it sitting for 10 minutes, you've got to get the center console out, because you're not going to be able to get anything else done with the center console in. So we pull our center console. If yours has the cup adapters, then you want to pull your cup adapters, because there's some screws under there. Set the cup adapters in the back. And you got a screw that sits down in this side, one that sits down on the passenger side. They're Phillips head screws. You got to pull those out. Put you up on the driver's seat, that way you can see what we're doing here. See, I'll show you. Excuse my mess. See, there's the screws down in your cup holder down in there. I'm going to get at it from the passenger side so that you can see. Alright, you want to lift your armrest up to get yourself some space. Of course, the armrest is going to come off in a minute, so take the trash bag off so you can get to your hardware here, and just take these two Phillips screws out. You have to take the console out, because the dashboard, right down in here, that piece has to come out. I've never tore a dashboard out of a Focus. What I'm showing you will work on every Focus 2000 to 2007, with a minor difference in how the radio comes out. I'm going to just put my console screws down in there. The minor difference being, on the 2000 to 2003 Focus, your radio comes out with the Ford radio removal tool. On this Focus 04 and up, you don't do that. So we got those two screws out. See, our cover comes up. We got two screws in the back. I think we got, yeah, they're back. Let me show you where they're at. I got those two screws out. Let's come back here. We got to take our armrest off. So let's get you in here so you can see how the armrest comes off. Yeah, our original armrest broke, so that's why it's two different colors. Alright, so you got to take this plate off. This cover comes off. It just snaps right off like that. Set that down on the floor, and you got to take these two screws out back here. That'll take your armrest off. You have to take the armrest off, get the console off. Let me see. You set your console, your armrest screws down on the floor there. If you want to kind of keep things all together, you can put your screws in one of the cup holder pieces. Okay. Take your armrest, slide it back and up. Comes off. We're going to set that down here on the floor. go. All right, and then we got a screw down in here we got to get. These are hardware for something else. You got to screw down in here. Now, if you have the cover that goes over this hole, take a pick, put it right inside this groove and pick up on it, and you can get the cover off. This car used to have all the covers on it, but somebody came through and broke them all. Don't know who that was. All right, and then you want to, all right, so your console is going to pick up now. So now what you need to do, and I'm going to leave you in the back seat so you can see this. Let's see if I can get you in a good view here so you can see how this console comes apart. Here, let me show you here. All right, show you how you get the console up. All right, so what you're going to do next is you're going to pick up from the front seat. Yep, you can see. All right, so what you need to do now is, you notice I got the parking brake on. There's a reason for that. You're going to take your key and you're going to put it in this spot right here. That's your emergency shifter release. Like in the event of a dead battery or something, you got to move your car. Put your key down in here. You can release your shift lever. Parking brake must be on. Put this in 1. You'll see why here in a minute. All right, and then you want to pick up your console. You want to slide your boot over the end of your parking brake handle. Lift it all the way up. All right, we'll put it in reverse. You want to pick up on the back. Aim it straight up. Slide it out like just like that. Console's out. All right. That is all you need to do right now as far as the console goes. You've got your vent ducts here that go down into the back seat. Leave those alone. All right, so now we're going to put this in the back of your car. So if you have a sedan into mini truck mode, we're going to show you how to convert your car into mini truck mode in case you've never done it. All right. So on every Focus, from 2000 forward, which I think they started building in 2000, so every Focus known to man, you have got little push buttons up here on your seat backs. See, you got a push button there, got a push button over there. Now you also can lift your seat up. So you pick your seat up, flip it forward, okay? Just like that. All right, push your push button, roll your seat down until it goes flat. You're gonna do that all the way across, and I'm gonna show you why. You're gonna turn this into a storage area for your parts. You can push your button, drop your seat down. Don't mind my totes. I'll fix my tote here. And then you're gonna take your center console and you're gonna lay it down in the back of your car. Now, if it's crusty like mine is, where it's got food and crap on it, before you put it back in, you can take it in your house or your garage or wherever you're working, clean it up, make sure it looks pretty when it goes back in. All right, so we got the back done. We'll go ahead and close the back. That is now going to be our storage area for anything that we need to put back there, like the radio, stuff like that. Makes it easier to do this job. All right, we haven't gotten to the airbags yet. Don't worry about that. We'll deal with that in a minute. All right, so the next step we need to take is we need to get the radio and the center dashboard taken apart. So I'm going to show you what it's like on the 04 to 07 Focus, and then the 2000 to 2003 Focus. I'll show you on my Ranger because it has almost the same radio. All right, you're going to have the removal tool for these slots right in here, okay? See the slots right there? That's that tool that you slide in on each side, and then you take your fingers and you squeeze it, pull back on it, and that's how you get your radio out. That's how you do it on the early model Focus. On the late model Focus, like what we're working on, we just need to get a ratchet and our extensions, and we need a 7mm socket, and we need one of our trim tools. All right. This is the only part that's different. The rest of it, from what I can tell, is basically the same. All right, so get in here, get you set up. All right, this is how you get your radio out. We'll put our shifter down in 1. Take our ratchet. We'll set our ratchet down here with our socket. Up here in these corners, there's a slot. Take your trim tool and you pry down in the corners. I'll show you the slots here in a minute. Down here on the side, same thing. Take your, and you pry that back. Okay. On the back of this, you've got some connectors. So you're going to push and pull your connectors back. Okay. This one broke, so this one just comes right off. This comes off. You're going to need your trim tool to pull this one back. You take your trim tool and you scoot it in there like that, and you can lift up on this. And you take your, or you can go at it from, yeah. I don't think you could do it that way, but pop that up. And then these are held in by screws. So we'll take our push here, lift up on that, that disengages that. Now there's 2 ways you can do this part. You can either take them off down on the heater box, or you can unscrew them from the panel. I'm going to unscrew them from the panel because that's easiest for me. So you take your Phillips screwdriver, pull your screw out. Okay, and then you kind of twist, lift up. Well, you got to pull your knobs off first. And take your knobs off, twist, pull up, and then put the screw back in the hole so you don't lose it. There we go. Now the one that we're going to be working on is this gray colored switch. That's your blend door. Okay. Twist that down, lift that up. Then you take your centerpiece out. Okay. And then we set our centerpiece in the back out of the way so we don't mess it up. Leave your switches up front, your knobs, so that you can control this when we get ready to fix this. All right, now we're going to pull our radio out. So to get the radio out, you've got 4 7mm screws in here. I've only got 2 left because I've lost 2. Once you get them undone. Now, if you have small hands, and you can get your hands in here, take your hand and cover the screw up so you don't lose it, because you will lose these screws into the abyss. You might see them again when we take the dashboard back. Don't count on it. There's one screw back, and then we got one up here that I left in here. I'm eventually going to change this radio out, but go ahead and get these screws out. You'll do this 2 more times, but in my case, I only have the 2 screws. That might be what those screws are for in the back seat. Oh well. Pull your screws out. All right, and then you slide your radio forward. And you want to unplug your connectors in the back at the push and pull. You set your radio in the back. Alright, so now we gotta get your upper controls off. Now we gotta get this piece out. This piece can be a pain. Alright, you gotta grab over here. You gotta get this upper fascia out. Be very careful on this upper fascia. You gotta be very careful on this upper fascia, because if you're not careful, you will break it. You can almost see the push tabs. There's push tabs on the top of this upper fascia. It's for the heater vent. And it looks like I may have knocked this grill piece loose. So let me see here. Yeah. This side wants to come apart on me, so. All right, let me get this piece out real quick, and then I'll show you how we continue on. All right, I almost got this thing out. It tends to get stuck. When that happens, you just got to be very careful when you take it apart. There's little tabs you got to push on. See these little tabs right here? They get caught inside the dashboard right here, and they want to make it to where you have to rip on it to get it off, but don't do that. You got a clip back here for your hazard switch and your airbag monitor. By the way, make sure you plug that back in when you're done, because if you don't, your airbag light will go off. See, you got little push pins on here that you got to push down. These in here you can get from inside the cavity, but the upper ones you got to get with a trim tool. Set that in the back. All right. Now, in one video that I did a couple years ago, what I was telling you about was you can take this center piece out and get to the doors, and you might be able to scrape some of that glue off the doors and do some like lube in there to kind of help the doors move. There were some people in the comments that didn't understand how that worked. This center duct comes off without pulling the dashboard out. You got to reach in here and you got to disconnect the grabs for it, and then you can get in here, pick up on the top of it, and pull it straight out. But we're going to get to that later. All right, so moving on. If your car has tilt, I'll move you over to where we're at now. If your car has tilt, drop the wheel all the way down. If your car does not have tilt, then I guess you're going to be doing what I'm doing. My car doesn't have tilt. All right, we need to take the instrument panel loose. So we're going to take our trim tool here. We're going to go around the outside of our instrument panel. Nice and easy. We're going to pull this dashboard cover loose. Okay. All right, now we need to, because in true Ford fashion, they've got a hidden bolt. Okay, so in true Ford fashion, they like to leave hidden bolts in places. So you get your 8mm and take the knee bolster off. There's 2 bolts in the top, and there's 2 bolts in the bottom. Before you pull the knee bolster completely off, you have to take the hood release off, because the hood release is bolted to the bottom of the knee bolster. You can get the 2 top bolts out. You just can't get the 2 bottom bolts out till you unhook the... Scoot your seat all the way to the back so you got room to work. You want to get under here, up in the back, there's a nut. Just unscrew that nut a little bit. Pull your hood release down. Then you can get under here and get these two knee bolster bolts. All you need is a bit driver and a 8mm bit. That's all I'm using. And if you want to use your electric ratchet, if you have one, you can do that too. Now be very careful. On some of these cars, they got the OBD2 connector attached to the knee bolster under here. So if that's the case, we're going to have to pull that OBD2 connector off the knee bolster. So you want to hold it up with one hand while you unscrew it with the other. Just take it out nice and slow. Get it to where you can spin it out with your fingers and then take it. You're going to take your screws out and you want to lower this down nice and easy. There's a catch on the side that you put in there to help you. And you see down here is your OBD2 connector. You want to take a pick tool or your trim tool without putting any tension on that OBD2 connector. You want to take your trim tool and you want to try to trip the clip to get it to come out. Sometimes you can push on it from the front side, pull your connector out. Oh, there's all my CDs I was looking for. They're in this car. Take this, put it in the back seat with the rest of your parts. There we go. All right, now we got to look for that hidden screw that Ford puts in these dashboards. Every single Ford I've ever worked on has a hidden screw in it. Oh, there it is right there. It's right here on the corner. It's a 7mm. So we got to take this 7mm out of here. Then our bezel cover comes off. Take that screw and set it with your other screws over here on your seat. Now we can pull our bezel cover up. If you have the power deck lid feature, you're going to have to unhook your button. It is a push and pull. A really small push and pull at that. Alright, so let me... oh, we got our attached here. We are attached to the top of our cover. So we're going to have to pop our cover loose, which is weird. Let me use my trim tool here and I'll unplug this little switch right here. It's a push and pull, so you just got to kind of get in there and then push on it, and then you can release the tab and pull it out. And it does not have a light in it. I find that weird. All right, so now we got to get our top piece off our steering column. So we got, I think these are Torx bits. I think these are T10s. Yeah. Let me go grab a T10 bit and I'll be right back. All right, got my T10 bit. It's the only bit I keep in my toolbox because it works on GM, Ford, and Chrysler. Most commonly used bit when you're working on interiors. T10. Yeah, you come across a T30 from time to time and a T20, but mainly it's T10 because they're small screws. So you take your, you got one on each side of your lower cover. You got one in the back. As soon as I can get my bit on it, I have to get down here and look at it. We'll set our screw down there for a minute. Yeah, there it is. It's right in here. Now, if you have your if you have tilt wheel, your tilt mechanism sits on the bottom of your column here. So you want to make sure that before you pull this bottom cover off, you pull your lever all the way down, and this will slide down off that tilt lever. Also, if you have the added buttons like I put in this car, you want to be very careful when you take this apart, because those wires are micro thin wires and you're going to break them if you're not careful. Alright, and then we got to get up in here. We got to disengage our upper cover. Got a couple plastic tabs over here. I think we can get them with our claw here. Let's see where, can you guys see what I'm doing here? Yeah, kind of. I'm right in here on this, right where the wiper switch is. You got a tab right here. You got to push in to release. So we're going to push in. I'm going to kind of pull it down and away. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you can. It's hard to do this. Let's see. There we go. Got that side released. We gotta get this side released, which should be easy since you got the one side done. Alright, and then we can lift up on our top here. And this whole thing should come out as a unit. It does. Okay. And then your bezel assembly comes off, so you can get to your dashboard. See, the tilt wheel makes this a whole lot easier. You see on the back side of your, it's part of the unit. Escorts have that on them, except on Escorts they're part of the upper cover, not the whole dashboard bezel. Alright, so let's see what we got going on in here. Alright, so this is your deck lid connector. Alright, we can go ahead and leave our bottom of our steering column okay for right now. Let's see, we need to pull our instrument panel out. And there's usually some bolts back there that holds the dashboard in. I think those are 8s. Nope, they're 7s. Alright, so we'll take our 7. You've got 4 bolts that hold your dashboard on. Put your screws on your seat so you don't lose them. There's a whole lot of tear down you got to get to in order to get to your heater box. That's why I've been putting this off for so long. Not that I don't mind the tear down, because I don't mind the tear down. It's because I was scared to death to do the tear down. Because I've never done this before. I've never taken a Focus apart. So like I said in the beginning, we are learning together. I will tell you this though, you want to avoid taking your steering wheel off. I know there's some of you out there that are thinking you can just pull the steering wheel off and slide this thing forward and you're done. I'm not going to suggest that, for the simple fact that you've got a clock spring you have to pay attention to. If the clock spring's out of adjustment, you're going to have an airbag light on. And you could also prematurely deflate your airbags, or inflate your airbags more or less. Make them go boom. At least the steering wheel one. And you don't want an airbag to the face. That's just no fun. This one screw wants to be a pain in the neck. Now, some of these cars, I've taken a few of these apart over the years. They like to put attaching bolts behind the instrument panel, We still have to get the passenger side tore apart, so that might be another video. Oh, by the way, you signed up for a series, so congratulations. All right, we have a connector back here. Yeah, see, there's 2 bolts hidden behind the dashboard. Okay. Is that a lift lock? That is a lift lock. All right, well, I'm gonna have to go get my flathead screwdriver. So I'll be right back. All right, so I got a pick and I have a screwdriver. And that is the most adorable little lifting lock I've ever seen. So let's tip it back here so you can see what we're doing. It's got a locking tab. So we need to push down on our locking tab. It'll pick up this little door right here. And that just gets your connector off. And we'll take our dashboard. We'll set it in the back with the rest of our parts. And I'm going to bring you up front so you can see the 2 hidden bolts. So, this is where we're at so far. See? I told you. There's our lifting lock. We gotta take those 2 bolts out. They look like they're 7s. I have a 7 right here. Let's see if that works. Yep, they're 7s. So you gotta pull those 2 bolts out. And then we'll wiggle the dashboard and we'll see how many other bolts we gotta get to. So I'm gonna set you right over here. You can kind of see what we're doing here. Looks like these bolts have flats on the back sides of them, so they make them special. We want to get it off of this inner structure here. We're almost to the heater box, guys. We're almost there. Just got to hang out with me a few more minutes. Set our special screws down on the floor. That way I know where they came from. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well. Alright, so we're still supported it somewhere, so let's start looking around for some bolts that might still be stuck in the dashboard. Alright, so let's see. My knowledge of Fords tells me that they like to put one down in the middle here. So we got to pull this. We got to pull this bottom piece off next. Let me scooch down there to see that. This bottom piece down here has to come off next. So we have a little console piece down here that we need to pull out. So let's see here. I think that just pulls straight out. I've had this out before, so I think we can just get in there with our trim tool. There we go. Get the blocks disengaged from the top of it, and that comes right out. That goes back there with our stuff. Alright, and then we got this piece that comes off. There's a Phillips screw on each side. There's one on the bottom here, and then there's another one over there, so we're going to have to drop the glove box door to get to it. These are Phillips screws, so you just want to just take these screws out and just leave them on whatever side you're on. Alright, and we'll pull that back down. See, that pulls that side loose. And then we got one over here. Let's see if I can find it. Alright, we're going to pan you down here to the glove box side. We're not done on the driver's side, but we got to get that bottom beauty tree piece off of there. So Alright, so let's move you down here. Alright, so we're trying to get this piece off right here. And I've done it before, so I just got to remember how it goes. You got an attaching screw on the other side. You got another screw, sits right up under the glove box door. I'll show you where that's at here. Take you off the pod. See that screw right there? That's for that piece. That screw has to come out. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to get that screw out. As I get you back on the pod. I'm going to set you up on the seat so you can see what I'm doing. You just want to leave the screw on the floor, or if you have a container that you're putting your hardware in, make sure you put it in that container. We have two plastic retaining screws down on the frame down here. They're right over here. There's one on each side. You gotta take these out too. If you lightly put pressure on the screw, it will come out. If you try to take it out like a regular screw, you will not get very far. That pin comes out. Then I got to get the one on the driver's side, so let me go get that one. We'll pull that bottom cover off. Alright, so we got one on this side. It's right over here. And this one wants to spin, so we got to hold it still. Light pressure. This is Ford's way of being funny. They've been doing these fasteners as early as '89 because I have them on my Ranger. You take this piece here. You want to get it disengaged from the rest of the car. This piece comes up and out like this. And this little beauty piece goes in the back too, with the rest of your car. Alright, so we got that part out. We're almost to the heater box. Alright, so let's see here. What do we got? We've got... Alright, so we got to take some more dashboard loose on the driver's side. And then we can start working on the passenger side. So we got two bolts in the back we took out. Believe it or not, the radio acts as a support. Let's see, we've got stuff on the passenger side we got to get to in a minute. So let me see. Alright, I think we need to take this trim panel off. Yep, we got some more bolts back there. Oh, okay. It's a pushing piece. That's special. Alright, so let me show you what we just did there. You have an access panel. Looks like this. I'll show you on the other side. See, I already got this side taken off. It just pops off. And we got to take out this screw and that screw. And as far as I know, this side will come off. I don't know though. Like I said, I've never done this before. So let's go ahead and get that done. And these are special panel screws, so you want to make sure that you keep them in the same area as the rest of your screws. Do not take the silver screws out. The silver screws are structural screws. You do not need to take those out for any reason whatsoever. That's what they call a crash bar. The big steel pipe that goes across the front of your car. It's required by federal law. It's part of the inner structure of your car. You don't want to take that apart. I'm almost about to say, but doing so would be bad for you, but it probably would. So, take these two screws out. Because we don't need to take the crash bar out. There's no reason for it. Set that down there. Alright, feels like we might have something up in there. So let's go ahead and see about getting our upper trim our A-pillar removed. I've never taken the A-pillar out of this car, so I don't know how it comes apart. Probably just like this. Yeah, I don't see nothing. That don't mean there's not nothing up there though. Alright, let's pull our trim panel down. Oh, well, that's not good. We're gonna have to get that back. And that's all bent to crap. Alright. Alright, let me scooch over so I can get this upper A-pillar molding off. Sit you right there so you can see what we're doing here. Alright, I'm gonna pull this back and out. There's nothing up in there. Oh, I see why we had to do that. I got you now. Okay. We'll come back for that later because we're going to have to put our pillar molding back together. So we're going to have to pull the A-pillar molding off because it helps hold the dashboard together. Kind of a genius idea, I guess. Of course, you got your wiring here for, I think that's your brake lights. Goes up along the rail back there, unless that goes to your wipers. Not sure which way. So I think, for the most part, unless we need to, we are done on the driver's side for right now. So let's start on the passenger side. Let's start off by getting that A-pillar molding down like we did on the driver's side. Alright, so we're going to pull our A-pillar molding off. Oh, it comes with little spots to grab your... Oh, that's nice. Let me take this off right there. There we go. Take this apart. Set this in the back seat. Alright, and then we got to pull this panel off. There's a little squeeze tab down here you got to take loose, and then that little trim piece comes off, and then we got 2 bolts on this side we got to get to. We got to pull our dashboard, or not our dashboard, we already did that. Got to pull our glove box door. Get our screws out. There's there was one. We gotta. Yep. Okay, they're down here. I feel like they're Phillips head screws. Grab my Phillips here. No, they're 7s. They're down here in the bottom. I got to pull our glove box door. So let me grab my 7mm socket because we're going to need it for those 2 bolts right there. If you're thinking this is a lot of tear down just to fix a manufacturer's defect, you might be right. But I'm going to tell you what, this is the correct way to do it. You have to take dashboard out. There's no other way. Trust me on that. I've tried to fix this car for 3 years. And just when I think I got it right, snap goes your cable and you're spending $67 on a new cable. Which, not a lot of money, but the availability of this cable is going to become obsolete one day. And I don't know if I mentioned it in my other Focus video, but the likelihood of you finding a good one of them cables in a junkyard is about 0, because I've tried. You find the heater just fine, but the I'm going to take this to the back because we got a bolt. Yeah, that's not holding it to the blower motor, but set this back here. Put this back here to the rest of our car. The likelihood of you finding another piece is going to be, like I said, next to 0, for the simple fact that by the time they're in the junkyard, they've been worn out so badly that they're not worth anything. I bought one for like 10 bucks at a junkyard, put it in this car, and then the first time I used it, it broke. So, and all Ford had to do to avoid that problem was put nothing on the door. They could have put no foam on the door. So I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to prevent a leak. They could have tightened the variance between the door and the opening to where they wouldn't need the foam. And the other thing they could have done, which I'm really surprised they didn't do, we got to pull this trim piece off real quick, was they could have put an electric motor in there like they did on the SUVs. If they'd have put an electric motor on it like they did on the SUVs, we wouldn't be here today. Because then all you have to do is just change out the actuator like you do on the SUVs. Alright, so we got that trim panel took off. That had to come off because I thought it was connected to this bottom piece, and you want to make sure you get all your bolts out. Alright, so let's see here. We got 2 bolts up there that hold the hood of the glove box door latch together. So we got to pull these 2 bolts right here. They're part of this metal trim. Then I have to pull the airbag. That's why you want this thing to discharge for a while. Just set your glove box bolts down here in the bottom where you can find them. Set all that together. You see, it's part of this metal up in here, so we're almost able to pull the dashboard apart. Pull it back enough to where we can get to the heater box. Alright, so you might have noticed that we're missing a couple vents here because you have to pull those vents out to get to the airbag bolts. There's 2 bolts in the back. Look like that. They sit way up in the back. You got to pull those 2 ducts off to get to them. So I got the bolts out. Now we're going to take I got to get them clips released. There we go. See that? Gonna do the same thing on the other side. There we go. There's our airbag cover. And then we've got, let's see, to get the airbag out, we've got some 10mm bolts that we got to pull out that are on the inside. Alright. So, I'm going to use our quarter drive and our swivel right here. We'll pick our cover up, and we want to get the 2 bolts that are in the silver area. So we'll go ahead and get those broke loose. And then we'll get our hand in there. Now there's an airbag connector on here you need to unplug, so make sure that your battery's been disconnected for at least 10 minutes. If you want to accelerate the process of discharge, you can hook a jumper wire on both battery cables, I'm sorry, not terminals, the cables. You can do that with the battery disconnected. Run a jumper wire between both sides. Leave it on there if you want to. That'll discharge any residual energy that might be in a module somewhere. There's your airbag bolt right there. One of them. There's 4 all together, so we gotta get back in here and get this back one. I wish this cover would come up a little bit further up so we can get to this back airbag. Try a different way. Let's try a different approach. Let's go in there without the universal or the swivel on the end of it. Let's Try it this way. Oh, look at that. All right. Maybe we can get our hand in there now and just... Yeah, let's try our handle here. No? Guess we'll take our ratchet off the end here and we'll try that. Yeah, that seems to work okay. Yeah, probably gonna need a shorter extension loop. I can't find my 1 inch. We're just gonna have to work with what we got. Of course, I'm gonna have to move you to get the other 2 airbag bolts. So I think what I'll do is I'll take those out. Then I'll bring you back and we'll pick this puppy up out of here and then we can move on with our day. Yeah, I see some bolts on the top we're gonna have to get to. Alright, so I'm gonna get those other 2 bolts pulled and then I'll be right back. I thought I'd bring you back to show you something. Let me pull our airbag cover off now. Look at that. Those are those bolts that I was showing you. They go way in the back. I don't know if there's a way I'm going to be able to show that to you, but we'll set our airbag cover back there. We'll get our last airbag bolt out, and then we'll set this gently in the back seat away from any windows. So we'll probably stuff it under the seat somewhere. I got my adapter on here. Makes life a lot easier. Got that at the old Harbor Freight. And then your bolt falls down into the back there. You want to keep your airbag bolts separate from your car bolts. That way you don't get them confused. Alright, then we want to pick our airbag up. We got a bracket that goes on the bottom, so make sure that you remember where this goes. It goes on the bottom. And you want to lift your airbag up off the pins back there. Pull your airbag up. We'll set this stuff over here. You got electrical right here you got to disconnect. So let me see how that comes apart. Looks like it's a twist, or it's a squeeze and pull. Yep. And your airbag's out. Well, we got another one on the other side, so we got to make sure we get that one. It's got 2 of them on it. Alright, we're going to set this back under the seat. Face up with the airbag facing up. Don't set it face down. Never set an airbag face down. Alright, we got 2 more bolts right here, the plastic bolts. Now keep in mind you do not need to take the dashboard completely out of the car to do this repair. You just have to get it far enough back to where you can have straight in access to the air box. Because the air box itself stays in the car. The air box itself stays in the car, so you want to keep that in mind when you do this. We'll set our 2 dashboard bolts down there. Alright, we got our airbag pieces here. We're going to set this stuff in the back seat. With the airbag, if I don't lose the bolts, as I tend to do whenever I do this type of stuff. Nope. Okay. Alright, we'll set this stuff down here. All right, so now we gotta, yep, more bolts. All right, let me see if I can locate them. As you can see, our dashboard's ready to come out. Well, there's nothing in those holes, so it must have the bolt delete. So let's see if we can pull this thing. See if we can pull it forward. This side's coming through. There's our dashboard. All right, so we got to pull this thing back just far enough so that we can get to our heater control box. So make sure you got all your connectors. I'm over here, guys. Make sure you got all your connectors appropriately moved. Take all your duct covers off. We got one duct cover over here we got to take off. Let me find my Phillips screwdriver. You also want to probably take your headlight switch out too while you're at it, in case you're able to get the dashboard completely out. Like I said, we're only getting this back far enough to get to our heater box so we can fix that blend door problem. That if Ford was smart in their engineering wouldn't have even existed. Alright, so we got to push and pull in the back here. We got to pull our headlight switch loose. There we go. There we go. All right. Now our dashboard will come out. Make sure we don't have anything holding up our plastic. Looks like we got some things holding up our plastic. Just be gentle with it. All right. We just want to kind of easy does it on the bottom on the passenger side. Just kind of want to just gently pull it forward. Make sure that you don't have any connectors getting caught up in the works here. And this is going to be where you're going to find the screws you missed, which I think we got them all, so we can go ahead and pull this panel out. Yeah, it feels like I missed something there in the middle, so let's take a look. Alright, so we're having problems on that. Pick it up and pull it back. Look at that, folks. Our dashboard's almost out of our car. Alright, we just gotta figure out what we got hanging up over here. Just take a look at everything, make sure that we got what we need out of the way so we can get to our heater controls. So I gotta go back over the driver's side. And take this side and just kind of pick it forward. Alright, we gotta pick it up over the steering column. Alright, so I think what we're gonna do at this point, bring you over here so you can see what we're doing. Because we're having problems getting it around the steering column, we're going to drop the column. So we got some, looks like 13mm nuts under here. Yeah, we got some 13mm nuts under here. We're going to push this back a little bit so we can get to our bolts. And take this middle cover off here. Being careful not to break our controls here. This little piece pops loose, and then you can unplug the wire from it, which is just a pull out, wire here. Let's see if we can, oh, okay, yeah, you got to have a pick for this one. It's got a tiny little attachment tab on it. We're going to pick our, there we go. Take your switch out, put it in the back of the rest of your car. And then we'll take this bottom piece loose, like this. And take our bottom piece off our car here. There we go. And we'll take that loose, put your rubber back in your key switch, and we'll set that in the back. And we can drop our steering column. All right, we got a T30 on one bolt. You need to remember where that goes because that's important. So let me show you what we got under here. Now, pulling the steering wheel would not be advisable. I told you that at the beginning. So we got to drop our steering column. There's the steering column bolts right there. We got this nut. We got these nuts right here. Funny, haha. All right, and then we got, I get my camera to focus on it. We got another. All right, so we got a hex bit right there. We got that T30, and we got that bolt down in the back. Steering column will drop, so I'm going to go ahead and drop the steering column, and then I'll be right back. We can finish pulling our dashboard apart. All right, I got our steering column down. We're going to zoom back a little bit. Yeah, you want to support your steering column as you bring it down. That way you don't break nothing. It's got a flexible joint in there, so you want to be careful about that joint as well. So that bolt that I showed you, that was a T30. T30 fits it, but a T40 fits it better, so it's a T40. So, all right, now we got to finish pulling our dashboard out. So we can go ahead and start pulling back on this. Easy does it now. We got a bolt stuck in it somewhere. Oh, yeah, we got it on a bracket down here on our HVAC. We got it on a bracket down here on our HVAC. We got to pull that off the bracket. So we got an alignment bracket down here. We got to push that back. Get this off of here real quick. Oh, it's a locking tab deal. I suppose we could probably find the end of that, which is welded to the car, so we don't want to do that. There we go. That's what was holding us up. And let's go ahead and pull our dashboard out now. Roll it forward, send it out the passenger side. So now I'm going to open up my hatch. I'm going to slide this in the back of the car. If you want, you can see me do that. See, look at all of our parts back there that we got stored back here. That's why you want to turn that into a mobile storage center. Store all your parts back there. You're going to have a lot of them. All right, so let me get this camera set. There we go. Now you can watch me put that back there. All right, we're going to pull this out now. Oh, just bumped you there. Sorry about that, guys. All right. And that is your dashboard. Now we can get to our heater box and fix our heater box. So you might want to be a little bit more organized than I am. That way you get all your stuff in here. So get this back here. And you want to shut your door. Make sure you don't break your console. And that'll end part one. Part two, we get in here and we fix that door. So I'll see you on part two.